Okay, so let's open up Adobe Lightroom and get started. Here you see there's our wee logo, the little LR. And when you open it up, you'll see there's a number of panels that we can use here. And first thing I'm going to do is walk you through the layout. And Lightroom reads from left to right most of the time. And so you start up on the left hand side, work your way across the screen over towards the right, and then you'll see the different panels as we go through as well. So at the top we have a number of sections. We have Library, which is a kind of a catalogue of all of your photographs that you've imported. It's where you import your images, you store them in collections, you can add things like keywords, you can adjust the metadata and all that sort of stuff. And the second bit is the Develop module. And when we go into Develop, it'll be all of your sliders for exposure, contrast, color corrections, all those sort of things will be in Develop. And then you'll see that Lightroom has a Map module as well, where you can add location information. You can create a book or a slideshow, options for print, and also options for exporting for the web, including interactive kind of web galleries, HTML5 galleries and things, and we'll get to that just as a lovely way of presenting your images at the end. Okay, so where I've started here, you'll see that I've got my Navigator over here on the left hand side. I've specifically cleared out a lot of stuff and downloaded the latest version of Lightroom, and I've also got a catalogue here, which you'll see I've imported all photographs from that previous walkabout that we did, and there's 132 of them. Now I've imported everything, all the raw files off the camera, including the test shots and the ones that we did that were dark and so on. So I'm going to try to link as much of this content back to the photo walkabout so that it's nice and consistent for you. So down on the left hand side we have the hard drive with the Engage Live photographs. You can import images just by going to File and Import, and import photos and videos, and within here you'll see that this will be the first window when you open up Lightroom. This will be the first thing that comes up on your screen. For this session, you'll see down on the left you have source, you have any hard drives that are plugged in, you have your computer's hard drive, mobile devices, anything like that that's put in there. And I've got this hard drive here, and here's my Engage Live photo walkabout, which I can just click on. You'll see here that it brings up all of the photos. There's two that we chose not to import before the walkabout, and you'll see that all of the photos that are on this come up, and these are all the raw files, all the NEFs from the camera. You just go like this, and then where to import them into my catalog, that's fine, and click import. Okay, so that's what we did at the very start to get us to this point. Now when we're in here, you'll see that your catalog has the previous import of 132 photographs. These all come up on your screen, and it's got a lovely kind of lovely way of displaying the images where you can roll over them. You can click on one of them and it'll display the information for that just specifically, or you can double click it and it'll pop up here on your screen, full screen. You've also got it down here for your little display module. You've got the grid gallery, you have individual photos, you have a comparison. So for instance, if I wanted to compare this one with this one, I just select them both by holding Shift and clicking on them, and I can do an X and Y comparison between these two to see just which one I'd prefer to work with. Okay, you've also got other ones here that you use less and less as you go across. Generally, what I tend to do is just work from the grid gallery, double click it if I want to see it up larger, and then take it into the Develop module. And down along here, you'll see that we've got publish settings for Facebook and Flickr, and you can add more things on here as well. There's loads of options for exporting and changing your images. And you can also open up a second window just here. So if you wanted, for instance, you wanted that to pop up in a second window with all of this still open, you can do that just by clicking down here. And what else do we have? It has the titles of the images, and then all of your images displayed all across the bottom of the screen. So even if I was looking at this one here, I could still scroll across and just click on another one and another and so on as we go through. So it's really flexible with the way of displaying your images, and it's really good to allow you to sort it. And then thumbnails as well, you're able to zoom in and out. Okay, you've got the size of your thumbnails, and just depending on your screen or depending on how you prefer to work, that will display the thumbnails of your photos in a variety of ways for you, a variety of sizes. And you've also got this bit up here, library filter. Now this will be really handy as we go through, and I'm going to talk a bit more about this, but the library filter is really, really handy because you're allowed to filter out these photographs based on certain attributes. So it could be something like a keyword, or maybe like a location, a keyword, a date, a time, the camera it was taken on, anything like that. You can filter your images based on that, and it just narrows it down from, as I say, I've stripped all this out for this session, but you know, do a couple of photo shoots and there'll be tens of thousands of images on there, and the filters are really handy just to pull out specific dates or specific locations, things like that. And to do that, you'll see here at the minute, it's just selected on none. I could click on metadata, and you'll see that it'll list keywords, it'll list cameras, it'll list lenses even. So say you wanted all of your wide shots, all of the ones that were shot on your widest lens, it'll be listed here, and you can just click on it and it'll show you all the shots taken with that. You've also got attributes, which we can set, that are just basically like things like if you want to flag an image or give it a star rating. Personally, I use the star ratings quite a bit. And again, I'm going to walk you through how to do that. It's a nice way to sort your images. You can also add color labels and text as well. You can find text, which we'll get to all that. So, okay, so that's the library module. Over on the right hand side, you've also got the histogram for your images. So this is going to tell you, those of you that are used to reading a histogram, you'll know this is all old hat, but basically between here on the left hand side, you've got, this represents your shadows, your blacks, and over on the right hand side represents your whites. And really you don't want any peaks either side. Those are nice kind of healthy histograms. We can push them a wee bit to get a bit more contrast into your shots, but that's how you read a histogram. So you've got black on the left hand side, up through middle grey in the middle, and all the way up through white point here. I'm going to compare a couple of histograms later on as well, so if you've never seen that, if you've never used that, don't worry, we'll get that covered for you. Then we also have this nice quick develop module. So this is really handy. If you were, for instance, if you were in a rush and you were just trying to, instead of going through all of your development settings, you can save presets and things. So I could just roll through, select any one of these pictures and just do a quick develop on it, and it'll change it. So say that one there, I can go quick develop, and under my presets, you'll see here's your default Lightroom presets. I can save my own ones as well, but let's say there's a, Lightroom black and white. Let's go for look 4, and you'll see, look, that changes straight away to a really nice black and white photograph. And again, your own workflow, you'll find that you have your own presets. I'm just going to undo that. Okay, so you can just go Command Z to undo one of those changes, or if you like, you can use one of the, let's put that look back on it here. You can just go back and change it to default settings. And there we go, we're back to the start. Okay, so we've got a few more things down along here. You can have tone control, you have exposure, clarity, all those kind of controls. And this is the bit really that, that's just quick develop. So generally I I tend to go through the develop module itself. Gives us a bit more control over each individual wee parameter, so we'll do that in a sec. But as we look down here, this is where I really want to point you towards here, that on the right hand side you have, of your library module, you have keywords, okay? And you'll see that keywords are basically identifying words to do with your photos. So I've created one so far here that I have John Deere photography. So all that means is that if I want to apply a keyword to any of these photographs, they will come up as one of my photographs. I can also add new keywords. So I can go in, look, I have my keyword list. I've created a few previously here, but just to create a new keyword, we'll do one straight away. Let's pick this one, and I will create a keyword by pressing plus. We get this wee screen, and I'm just going to call this, let's say, Guildhall, because the Guildhall is in the background of this photograph here. You can also put in other words that will relate to that, but really just for this one here, I'm just going to say create. And under my keyword list, you'll see the word Guildhall has appeared here. If I want to apply it to this particular photograph, I can just click the tick, and that's it. That's now got two keywords. I can also, if you hold Command on a Mac or Control on a PC, you can select several of these images together and apply the keyword in the same way. Just tick, and there you go. You've got three images now that are tagged both as my photography and Guildhall, and this makes it really easy when we're sorting it as well. Now this bridge as well, this is the piece bridge, so I'm going to select all three of these together, and I'm going to go to piece bridge because I've already selected a piece bridge keyword. And now I'm just going to back out of here. Now, out of all of these shots that I've taken, let's say with these ones here where we were over at the water, this is where your library filter comes in, because I can go up here and I'm going to say filter my library by my metadata, and I'm going to say filter by the keyword of, say, Guildhall or piece bridge, right? Let's go piece bridge. And there you go. It's just those three shots. Okay, just those three shots. So it's a really handy way of organising and quickly finding your photographs. And those of you that are shooting away, you know, you'll know that nowadays with digital, it builds up so quickly, and you've just got hard drives and hard drives full of shots that, you know, you end up sifting back through them. So it really does pay to be organised. It really does pay to be on the ball as far as sorting your keywords, sorting your even things like locations and stuff, which we're going to get to on the map module. It's just great because you can just sort by location and find every image that you've taken at that place. So I'm just going to turn this off for now, just all, and take that off there. Okay. And the other thing that we have here as well is our keywording and our keyword list. Okay, look, you'll see here, there's just keywording, Guildhall, John Deere photography, piece bridge, keyword suggestions. You can add those in as we go through as well. But metadata. Now, the metadata is the hidden information on every photograph that you take. It tells programs like this what camera it was taken on, what lens it used, what exposure time, what aperture, what ISO, all that sort of stuff is stored in the metadata of a file. And what I would suggest when you do start off in Lightroom, what I would suggest is set up your own metadata template, okay? Because here, for instance, if I go in here, my metadata at the minute, you'll see it says John Deere photography, there's my name, there's the website, it says, you know, there's all of the camera information, and it just includes information that's going to be useful for people if they find it online and they want to use one of the images. They're able to go into the metadata, read up, and it says this is, you know, how to find the person for use of that image. And it gives you an extra level of protection as well, should you find, because it often happens unfortunately, but should you find that your image has been used without your permission, you can, go back through the metadata route and find it's kind of a bit of extra evidence that it was you that took it, Okay, so to change your metadata, you'll see that in here you have preset, and you can just click on it here and say edit presets, and you can set up your own custom metadata preset that Lightroom will use whenever you tell it to. It'll use it for all of your images. So you can put in your name, you can put in a caption if you want, you can put in things like GPS data and so on. If you do want to add in any of these particular sections, you'll see there's little check boxes that you go camera info, and you can check or uncheck as many as you like there. And basically what I tend to do is just put in the basics. I just put in my name, website, a copyright notice, the email should anyone want to get in touch with me. But you can fill this all out. You can fill out your address, your country, all of that if you like. And then you just click done and click save, and save it as a template. So say I was saving a different template here, I would just give this a different title and click create, and then it creates an individual metadata template for me that I'm able to just click on here. My one's set here, so I'm just going to leave that put. But it's really great because if I had a new photo, for instance this one, I'm going to pretend for a second that it doesn't have your metadata template. You can just click on here and click John Deere Photography, and it'll update all your meta info for that particular photo. Okay, so that's us through the library module. There's other things that you can look through. You can see, import and export kind of settings. You could export the whole, a selection of these. Let's do that and say export directly from here. You could put those onto a hard drive or send them by email, or you can export them, let's say, onto the desktop. You can put them in a subfolder entitled Photos 1, and yeah, you could add them to a catalog, add them to a specific one that you want, and name the file. You can give it a different name. We haven't named these ones yet, but yeah, and JPEG or TIFF or whatever you want to send it as. JPEG obviously is kind of the most common one now for printing, but if you want to send a really high quality one, occasionally people will ask for TIFFs as well. They'll be much larger files, but they're good. Okay, and you just basically put up your settings here. This is all fairly self-explanatory. You've got metadata here. Look, do you want to include all metadata, or do you want to just have the copyright only, or whatever bits? I'm going to include all of the metadata and click export, and that would export that selection of photos onto my desktop. So although it looks like there's a lot to it at the start, it's very straightforward. I'm just going to kind of close some of these down so that you can see it. Your library module is basically a catalog of images over here, certain folders that you can get access to, and then you also have collections as well. I haven't spoken about collections, but collections are basically like images from various places that you've put into a collection. So say you've been to New York 3 times, you can create a New York collection, and it'll pull all those photos together into a New York collection for you. This, as I say, we've only done the one walkabout for this, so we don't really need to create a walkabout collection, but we could do just dead easy. Just click that, create collection, and give it a name. We could go walkabout, and yeah, just click create, and that would be it. Go through your catalog, go through your folders, your collections if you have them all set up, and basically pull them in. You've got them in a library that you can browse through. I've already said about filtering the library based on particular attributes or your metadata and so on. Okay, and then over on here You've got a number of little modules here for quick development. You've got your histogram to see if it's over or underexposed, keyword list, metadata, and all of that. So this is kind of, anyone familiar with Adobe Bridge, this is your Bridge module, really. This is where you go through and you sort things out. I said, just before we go straight into the develop module, I did say that I'm fond of using the star ratings. I'll just show you how those work briefly. So to set the star rating, you just click on the photograph or set of photographs, whichever selection you want, and you go up to photo and set rating, and just 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 or 5. You'll see beside them, it tells you on your keyboard, it's just number 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, or 0 for no rating. So basically I can just hit this one, I can say, yeah, that's a 2-star image. This one, it's a 2-star image. And this one, 2 stars. Yeah, whatever, this one, 2 stars. And then go up to filter by attribute and click 2 stars, and you'll see that these are all of your images that have 2 stars. If I selected some better images that I thought were 3-star images, I could click that, but at the minute you'll see there are no 3-star filters, so I just go like that and that's fine. Now with all of these, I'm just going to select them all. I'm going to hit 0 to give them a 0 rating, and I'm going to go back to my library here. When we were importing, you'll see that it gives you the option to import your photographs. So here's Engage Live Walkabout. I'm going to take this one here just for a second. You'll see that it has a couple of options up along the top. It has copy as DNG, it has copy, it has move, and it has add. I said in the Photo Basics Walkabout that everybody with the capacity to do so should be shooting RAW files. Those RAW files are just raw captured light on your sensor. They're unprocessed, but they're really, really good files with lots of stretch and sway in them. If you are shooting JPEG, basically your camera is going to be compressing that itself without your control, and it gives you a smaller file with less kind of wiggle room to work with. So what I would recommend is copying into your library as a DNG. Okay, so for your RAW files, this one for instance, which I just took before the walkabout, I could go copy as DNG, and DNG is a digital negative file. So for instance, Canon will shoot CR2 RAW images, and Nikon will shoot NEF. Every manufacturer has its own kind of little format, but they're all pretty much, DNG is like a universal format, a digital negative that Lightroom will read from a number of different cameras, and it'll be able to process it. So I always go copy as DNG. It'll ask, where do I want to, destination, where do I want to put it? I could put it in anywhere else that I want on the system, but for now, you know, we've got all the photos imported in our hard drive, and Engage Live, Photo Walkabout, and in there. So we would just go import. Also, you can see options here for file handling. Okay, you have options for file renaming. So say you wanted they will always have just the titles off your camera, but we could change them completely. Again, with a template, we could say we want them to have the date and then the file name, or we want them to have a shoot name or a custom or whatever it is. And we could also, let's say we wanted to do, a custom name, and we could put that in. We could say this is John Test Shoot 01 or something, or whatever you wanted to call it. And you could select all of the images in your camera here, all of the source images, and just rename them like that when you import them. Okay. And yeah, so once you import those, they'll pop up on here. As I said, we're through the library module.